clear Saturday morning, the familiar roar of a motorcycle was tragically silenced at the Black Cat Roundabout. 50-year-old Jon Nunez, a man his family called a gentle soul, was killed in a collision with a Range Rover and pronounced dead at the scene. The community of Rhos-on-Sea and the wider North Wales area were left in shock, desperate for answers. The first reports painted a stark and heartbreaking picture, a life cut short in a brutal instant. But as the days turn into weeks, the full story of what happened in those critical moments remains locked inside an ongoing police investigation. This isn't just a story about a crash. It's about a cherished man, a notorious location, and a community holding its breath, waiting for the truth. So what really happened to Jon Nunez? We're here to look deeper into the stories that demand a second glance. The death of Jon Nunez is a recent tragedy, and with that comes a lot of sensitivity and information that's constantly changing. We're going to piece together what we know, try to understand the man who was lost, and follow the investigation as it unfolds. If you believe in finding answers and appreciate these kinds of deep dives, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue this work. Let's start by getting to know the man at the heart of this tragedy. Before the headlines and police reports, he was just Jon Nunez, a 50-year-old from the small coastal town of Rhos-on-Sea in North Wales. To really grasp the weight of this loss, you have to understand the life he lived. Rhos-on-Sea is a tight-knit community, a Victorian seaside resort that curves along the bay between Colwyn Bay and Llandudno. It's a quiet place, known for its harbor and promenade. This was Jon's home, and it's this community that now feels his absence so deeply. At 50, Jon was at an age where many find a new sense of freedom. For a motorcyclist, it often represents a peak of experience and passion. It's less about youthful recklessness and more about the pure joy of the ride. He rode a white Suzuki, though some reports described it as blue and white. A motorcycle isn't just a way to get around. It's an extension of who you are. For Jon, his Suzuki was likely a source of pride, and his ticket to exploring the stunning Welsh landscape, from winding coastal roads to the dramatic passes of Snowdonia. But the most telling descriptions of Jon don't come from his hobbies. They come from his family. In the days after the crash, they released a tribute that gets to the very heart of the man he was. They said Jon wasn't just a part of our lives. He made our lives better. That one sentence says so much. It paints a picture of a man who was an active, positive force for everyone he loved. Their tribute went on. He was a gentle soul, great listener, a fierce defender of his family and friends, and the first person you'd call when you needed a laugh or a helping hand. A gentle soul on a powerful motorcycle is a beautiful contrast, and it shatters the old, tired stereotypes about bikers. He wasn't defined by some tough exterior, but by his kindness. Being a great listener suggests a man who offered patience and empathy, a quiet pillar of strength. The fact that he was also a fierce defender reveals another side to him. He wasn't just passively kind. He was deeply loyal and courageous, someone who would stand up for the people he cared about without a second thought. This combination, the gentle soul with the heart of a protector, makes his loss feel even more profound. And being the first person you'd call for a laugh or a hand shows he was the reliable, joyful center of his circle. These are the kinds of people who build communities, and their absence leaves a real, tangible void. His family's tribute ends with a heartbreaking thought. Jon's love for life was infectious, and we'll forever remember the joy he brought into the world. We'll remember his laugh, kindness, smile, and the countless moments of happiness he gave us. These are the memories that now have to stand in place of him. This is the man who died at the Black Cat Roundabout. He wasn't a statistic. He was a son, a brother, a partner, and a friend. He was a fierce defender, a great listener, and a gentle soul whose love for life was infectious. And as we turn to the place where he died, we have to keep this image of Jon Nunez in our minds, a cherished man on his beloved motorcycle, on a ride from which he never returned. The place where this happened, the Black Cat Roundabout in Llandudno Junction, isn't just some spot on a map. For anyone who travels through North Wales, it's a critical and often frustrating piece of road. To understand what could have gone wrong that Saturday morning, we have to understand the environment itself. This isn't a quiet country intersection. It's the main interchange connecting two of Wales's most important roads, the A55 and the A470. It's a place of constant motion, a chaotic mix of local traffic, big lorries and tourists. The A55 is the main artery along the North Wales coast, while the A470 cuts right through the heart of the country, connecting Llandudno in the north to Cardiff in the south. The Black Cat Roundabout is where these two giants meet. As a result, the volume of traffic it handles is immense. On a Saturday morning in early September, it would have been especially busy with the last of the summer tourists, locals out doing their shopping, and of course bikers like Jon Nunez enjoying the clear weather. The design of the roundabout itself has been a problem for years. It's a complex, multi-lane system. If you're not familiar with it, figuring out the right lane for your exit can be stressful, leading to last-second swerves and hesitation, two of the most dangerous things that can happen in heavy traffic. For a motorcyclist, big roundabouts like this are uniquely hazardous. A bike is smaller and harder to see than a car. The driver of a large vehicle, like the black Range Rover Sport involved in the crash, has significant blind spots. A quick glance, a so-called looked but did not see error, can end in catastrophe. The roundabout's history is marked by other crashes, adding to its reputation. While it may not be the single most dangerous spot in Wales, reports from past years show other serious incidents. In June 2019, a biker was hospitalized after a collision with a car nearby. In May 2023, another crash on the A470 approach required emergency services to cut a man from his vehicle. These past incidents matter because they show a pattern of risk at this exact location, and the authorities knew it. The Welsh government had already identified the Black Cat Roundabout as a priority for major safety improvements. A plan was in place to make the junction greener and safer for everyone. The work was supposed to include widening the junction and installing traffic lights to control speed and congestion. In fact, the official project overview even predicted that these changes would reduce by a third the number of accidents that currently happen there. This is a critical piece of the puzzle. Jon Nunez's death didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened at a spot that was already officially recognized as needing an urgent safety upgrade to prevent exactly this type of accident. When Jon rode his Suzuki onto the Black Cat Roundabout shortly after 11:30 a.m., he was entering an environment known for being complex and dangerous. As a local rider, he was likely very familiar with its challenges. But familiarity is no guarantee of safety. When cars, trucks, and bikes all compete for the same space, one moment of misjudgment or one blind spot can be fatal. The question for investigators is what specific thing on this particular morning turned a routine ride into a tragedy. The day was Saturday, September 6, 2025. The time, shortly after 11:30 a.m. For most people in North Wales, it was the start of a nice weekend. The weather was clear, and the roads were busy. For Jon Nunez, it was a day for a ride. Maybe he was heading south on the A470, towards Snowdonia, a favorite route for bikers. Or maybe he was just out for a local spin. Whatever his plan, it ended at the Black Cat Roundabout. The two vehicles involved couldn't have been more different. On one side, Jon Nunez, on his Suzuki motorcycle, a machine that by its very nature leaves the rider exposed. On the other, a black Range Rover Sport, a large, heavy SUV, built like a fortress to protect its occupants. The difference in size and protection is huge. When they collided, the outcome for the motorcyclist was tragically predictable. The crash happened on the A547 part of the Roundabout. Around 11:33 a.m., the first calls flooded into the North Wales Police Control Room. A serious two-vehicle collision. The emergency response was massive, a sign of just how bad it was from the very beginning. Police rushed to the scene. Paramedics were sent out. Crucially, the Wales Air Ambulance was scrambled from its base in Caernarfon, a step that's only taken in the most life-threatening situations. But before the official responders even got there, a remarkable and heartbreaking thing happened. A number of off-duty healthcare professionals, who just happened to be passing by, stopped to help. They, along with the first paramedics, fought desperately to save Jon Nunez right there on the tarmac. His injuries, however, were just too severe. Despite the heroic efforts of everyone there, the off-duty medics, the paramedics, the air ambulance crew, Jon Nunez was pronounced dead at the scene. The man his family called a gentle soul was gone in an instant. At that moment, the incident went from being a medical emergency to a fatal crash investigation. The Black Cat Roundabout, a place of constant movement, was brought to a complete standstill. Police closed the entire junction for hours, and it didn't fully reopen until after 4 p.m. This long closure was needed for the Forensic Collision Investigation Unit to do its meticulous work. The sight of the empty roundabout, with just police cars, the two wrecked vehicles, and investigators' markers, must have been incredibly somber. The vehicles themselves, the Suzuki and the Range Rover, became the central pieces of evidence. They were taken to a secure facility to be examined for any mechanical failures, from the tires to the brakes, as forensic experts worked to reconstruct the final fatal seconds. One of the biggest questions was about the driver of the Range Rover. Police confirmed the collision involved the motorcycle and the Range Rover Sport, but they've been silent about the driver. No information has been released about their identity or condition, or whether any arrest was made. This is standard in an active investigation, but it leaves a void that gets filled with public speculation. What did the driver see? What did they do? Their story will be the most critical piece of the puzzle. As the sun set that Saturday, a family was grieving, and a police investigation was just beginning the monumental task of finding out what really happened at the Black Cat Roundabout. With a life tragically lost, the authorities immediately focused on one crucial question: why? Why did a 50-year-old man on his motorcycle die on a clear Saturday morning? The job of answering that question now falls to the North Wales Police Roads Policing Unit and their Forensic Collision Investigation Team. The first step at the scene was to preserve and document everything. The final resting places of the Suzuki and the Range Rover were critical clues. Investigators would have used laser scanning technology to create a precise 3D map of the entire scene, a digital reconstruction they can analyze from any angle. Every scrape on the road, every piece of debris would have been marked and logged. These marks tell a story of speed, direction, and force. The lead investigating officer, Sergeant Alan Jones, became the public face of the investigation. In his first statement, he offered his deepest condolences to the family, and then did something you don't always see. He publicly thanked the people who had stopped to help. He said, "I'd like to personally thank all those who stopped to assist at the scene, including many healthcare professionals who were off duty. It was a human touch, and maybe a subtle way of encouraging more people to come forward." That led to the most important part of his statement, the call for witnesses. Sergeant Jones urged anybody who may have witnessed the collision or was in the area to contact them. In today's world, that appeal has a very specific target: digital evidence. He explicitly asked for anyone with mobile or dashcam footage to get in touch, providing the incident reference number C139505. Dashcam footage is the holy grail for crash investigators. It's an impartial witness that can capture the moments leading up to an impact without flawed human memory. On a busy roundabout like the Black Cat at 11:30 on a Saturday morning, it's very likely that multiple cameras recorded what happened. Police are looking for footage that shows not just the collision, but the driving of both the Suzuki and the Range Rover beforehand. Was anyone speeding? Was there any erratic driving? Did someone fail to give way? A clear video could provide definitive answers. While that appeal was out, another team was forensically examining the two vehicles. They have to rule out any mechanical failure, a sudden tire blowout, brake failure, a steering problem. The damage to both vehicles would also be analyzed to determine the angle and speed of the impact. The investigation is likely exploring several possibilities. Was speed a factor? Did one of them fail to yield the right-of-way? Was the driver of the Range Rover distracted by a phone, a GPS, or something else? These are the hard questions police have to find evidence-based answers for. The official silence about the Range Rover driver is a key part of where the investigation stands now. In any fatal crash, the surviving driver is both a crucial witness and a potential suspect. Anything they say has to be handled with extreme legal care. They have almost certainly been interviewed, but what was said is confidential. Police haven't stated whether the driver is helping with inquiries, or if an arrest has been made for causing death by dangerous or careless driving. This tells us they're still gathering evidence, building a case piece by piece. Until that file is complete, information will be hard to come by. The search for answers continues, locked away behind the closed doors of the investigation. The ripples from the crash at the Black Cat roundabout spread far beyond the police tape. They washed over Rhos-on-Sea, through the North Wales biking community, and into the hearts of everyone who heard the news. Jon Nunez's death wasn't just a headline. It was a personal loss for an entire community. In his hometown of Rhos-on-Sea, the news hit hard. It's the kind of place where you know your neighbors. The shock of learning one of their own had been killed so suddenly, and so close to home, sent a wave of sadness through the town. The family's tribute, calling him a gentle soul, and the first person you'd call, resonated with those who knew his kindness firsthand. The local motorcycling community was also reeling. Bikers share a special bond, and the death of a fellow rider is always a chilling reminder of the risks they all face. Social media pages for local riding groups were flooded with messages of condolence. Some talked about organizing a memorial ride, a final escort for their fallen friend, a powerful tradition in the biking world to honor one of their own. But the family's grief, of course, was the most profound. Their tribute, where they talked about the countless moments of happiness he gave us, showed just how big their loss was. For them, the police investigation isn't some abstract process. It's their only path to understanding why this happened. They're left waiting, caught in that agonizing space between devastating loss and the final answers. The public's response was also powerful. The police appeal for dashcam footage was shared widely online, with people urging anyone in the area to check their cameras. The comments on news articles became virtual books of condolence, with strangers offering sympathy to Jon's family. This collective grief shows how much of an impact Jon's life and his tragic death had on people. In its own way, the community is investigating right alongside the police, searching for answers and trying to make sense of why a gentle soul on a Saturday ride never made it home. The story of Jon Nunez is one of a profound and sudden loss. He was a 50-year-old man, a gentle soul who was loved by his family, a passionate motorcyclist killed while riding his Suzuki near his home. The crash happened at the Black Cat roundabout, a location already known to be so dangerous that it was scheduled for a major safety overhaul. In the moments after the collision, off-duty medics and emergency crews fought to save him, but his injuries were too severe, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, the North Wales police investigation is active. They've processed the scene, are examining the vehicles, and have made a critical appeal for witnesses with dashcam footage to come forward, using the reference number C139505. Key details, including the story of the Range Rover driver and the precise cause of the crash, remain unknown as investigators carefully build their case. The loss of Jon Nunez has left a hole in his community and a painful question mark hanging over that fateful Saturday morning. The search for the truth goes on, driven by the police, his family, and a community that mourns the loss of a man who made their world a better place. We invite you to share your condolences for Jon Nunez and his family respectfully in the comments. As we wait for more updates, we remember Jon Nunez, the gentle soul from Rhos-on-Sea. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And for more cases, please follow us on Spotify.